everybody, and welcome to the Fortress of Comic News, episode 185. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside... I used Magnificent last week, didn't I? So I'm just going to call you Mike.
Okay. Not so magnificent this week. You need balance in all things, right?
I need to keep a checklist.
Yeah.
Like all the words I use. And
there's got to be like I'm sure if you Google it, there's a random adjective generator.
Oh, we're doing this right now.
Or something.
On air, everybody. We're doing it.
If you and with that, we will confirm we don't have an interview this week. We just had such a great interview last week that we had to, recover and just sit here with our thoughts, and hopefully something next week. But I'm just curious to see what pops up. And I hope
so. When you type in random,
yeah,
and then the first thing that pops up is adjective generator. So I'm not the first one to want this.
Well, or Big Brother is listening.
So
it happens to me all the time. I'll say something and you see an Instagram ad for it. I'm like, come on, guys.
Oh yeah, they're watching us. So
but
here we go.
Okay, here.
Start.
Hit me with it.
Oh, it wants all this bullshit. Nope.
Oh, you gotta sign up.
All right, text fixer. Let's see. Random. Generate random adjective.
Press button.
Alongside my co-host, the female Mike.
It's an adjective, I guess.
I don't know.
We'll go with it. I mean,
the labored Mike. We're doing the labored. Mike. You're the labored Mike today.
Labored. Oh shit! That hits like a truck. Oh god. Wow. They're like, wait, we had a 50-50 shot. Either female or this guy's run down pretty hard. All right.
Or both.
Or both. I mean, geez. Anyways, welcome to the show, everyone. I'll try to be as upbeat as I can for a labored individual. With all the stuff to watch right now between like movies and Halloween movies and shows, and decided to just sit back and watch the last couple episodes of Mandalorian, the first season, because next week we are being blessed by the Disney gods themselves for season 2, episode 1. And there's the part where they're having the big battle scene. I mean, there's a lot of big battle scenes, but it's the part where they're like pinned down, and the whole sequence with the stormtroopers bullshitting, and then IG-88 comes in and just like bashes their heads in, comes in on the speeder bike, starts shooting up the place. Gustavo Fran is just chilling there. It was like, I was like, this is such good television. And I don't rewatch shows. Breaking Bad was amazing. Lost, I thought was really good, but I would never go back and watch something. But it's just so good. They did and it's written by Jon Favreau, and I'm like, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That guy, man. And I started watching that chef show like you told me, and I will say this: 3 episodes in, he was eating some duck that looked amazing. And so, the next time I got takeout or ordered dinner, I had to get duck because I was just so starving for what they had. I don't know how you don't do that every episode. You just order whatever. I just become so hungry. It's amazing.
It's a problem, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I think like you, I'm like, oh man, duck would be good right now.
Yeah.
Except I'm the only person in my house that eat it. But I also, don't have a lot of money and don't have I don't live in a city like you. I live out in kind of the country a bit, so there's no one that delivers to me. So at that point, it's just like, well, we got Cheez-Its. I guess that'll do.
Cheez-Its it is. You gotta queue up Chef with your box of Cheez-Its. But just going back to Jon Favreau, man, this guy, he cooks. Well, he mostly eats on that show. He cooks a little bit. And then he goes on to just, he did Iron Man 1, he started the Marvel Cinematic Universe pretty much, right? And then this guy just comes in and does Mandalorian, and it's the best piece of television I've watched in a long time. And it's just so good. just to rewatch it, you're like, it couldn't be long enough. Like, even rewatching it, I was like, damn, I wish this episode was longer. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That never happens with a TV show.
So I'm so excited for it. For multiple reasons. I love the show, but it was also like the only show that the whole family could sit down and watch.
Right, and it's like
that we all enjoy.
Same. Right, and it's like there's something for everyone, and most of it's Baby Yoda. You know.
Yeah, like the kids just get excited about Baby Yoda. Yeah. But me and the missus, we're Star Wars fans, so we're enjoying everything. But it's like one of the few hours out of the week where it's like everybody sits down and everybody's attention is on the Mandalorian.
Yeah,
and that's what's going to stick with me with that show forever. Is that we got that out of it.
The magic of Disney. With that. Disney has announced the launch of Mando Mondays. It's going to include games and interviews with the cast and crew of the Star Wars Mandalorian YouTube channel. So, I mean, if you like the characters, that'll probably be pretty cool. I'm sure they'll be talking a lot of good content, behind the scenes stuff. I'm guessing what?
Oh, did you watch the last season? They did a documentary on Disney Plus with all the Mandalorian.
No, I didn't. I saw it was on there. I did not watch that.
So I really like that. It was much more produced than this will probably be, but I really like that. So if it's anything like near what that is, I'm so down for this because I love listening to my favorite episode is the writers talking and just talking Star Wars.
Right. And
I just hope that they do more of that with this and kind of just dive into people's nerdiness on all this.
Yeah, because that's all Jon Favreau is just a big nerd about things, but he knows how to funnel what everybody wants through this medium, which is Disney Plus now, television, and just make it golden.
Yeah, I just think he's a master storyteller where he can take everybody's like ideas and how things need to fit together and just make something great out of it. And that's definitely what he did with the show.
Yeah, he's such a cool guy. On the other side of that, HBO Max. What's coming with HBO Max? Rumors are swirling around HBO Max. Now, I am I'm on the side of ordering HBO Max when the Snyder Cut comes out. Like, they didn't have to announce anything else. I was gonna at least maybe go in for a year, maybe 6 months. But there's been talks that Ben Affleck could get a miniseries starring as Batman, with the possibility of Jared Leto coming back as Joker. Interesting. Because I feel like Ben Affleck almost never wanted to go back to the character until I'm sure they were like, well, how about for this much money? And he was like, well.
And it's important to note that these are rumors and they're
right.
I still haven't seen the major websites push these yet, so I'm still I'm not getting excited about them yet.
Yeah.
But that said, I would love to see Ben come back, play Batman and his Batman. And as much as I didn't like Jared Leto as Joker, I'm fine at this point. Like, if it gets us Affleck in his solo Batman story, I'm fine with it. Affleck.
Batfleck is back. So I mean, I like 50% of that. Like I said, the Joker kind of sucked, but also I don't think we didn't see the Joker that much. I mean, we saw him in Suicide Squad, right? But like a Batman Joker miniseries would probably be pretty cool if they just get rid of all the tattoos. More importantly, though, Chris, they finally been reading your letters. Michael Keaton is rumored to be talking with HBO Max to star in a Batman Beyond series for the streaming service.
Yes.
Yeah. Just take a moment to think about that.
Let it wash over you, everybody.
Yes. Yep. Wow.
This was the first one that popped up where I really dove deep into the HBO Max rumors. And I was like, because I wanted it to be real, I did more digging on this story than I have in any story in a long time.
You're like, hold on, let me get my spelunking gear on.
It's gotta be real, guys. I feel like they gotta be at least attempting or talking to him about something Batman Beyond, because you bring him back for Flash and it's cool as a moment, but it's also like he's at that perfect age, and he was Batman, so it works. And now we're in a world where we can actually do something like that. So please, I mean, I don't care if it's, as long as it's live action with Keaton as Batman, I don't care if it's a series, a movie, whatever, just make it happen.
Him with a cane just walking around being grumpy, like, as long as they acknowledge that he's Bruce Wayne. Like,
and just getting Terry in the suit, and
who would you want for Terry McGinnis?
I would want a relatively unknown, honestly.
Mm.
I don't think I have a name that I would pull out. But Terry's got to be like a teenager, so you'd want someone
honestly,
like you remember when Tom Holland was first cast, and we're like, who's Tom Holland?
Right.
I want that moment.
Yep.
That would be my perfect.
I would say there's a couple good young actors on Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid show, and I think maybe one of them could be good, or just I think someone around that age, Yeah. But I would, like you said, no name would be fine, and we already know it's going to be like, if it's like cyberpunk style and it's not too dramatic or cheesy like CW, I'm just like, just give me the live action Batman Beyond suit, and we could just say we could just retire the podcast at that point, I think.
Well, listen, like, once again, not a big fan of Jared Leto's Joker, but
right.
Let's say both of these are real. We get Batfleck and we get that series, and then you do the Michael Keaton, and they say, hey, we're going to bring it back for one more, and you end it with Return of the Joker with Jared Leto.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I don't care if it's Jared Leto. I'm just so happy that you did Return of the Joker in live action.
Yeah, right.
So I want these to be real.
They could do a lot of things here, and I think also, I mean, obviously DC and HBO and Warner Brothers see a demand or like the fans want this, They're sitting with Michael Keaton in the meetings like, these are all the old Batman stories we could do. Which ones do you guys want? They're like, well, Batman Beyond already has a script, so.
And it's just so perfect. Like, Keaton was Batman right before animated series hit. So,
right.
Our age group knows Keaton is Batman from when we were little.
Yeah.
And now we're old enough, and we grew up now in animated series and all these other ones, but then Batman Beyond, and now we're old enough where we make purchasing decisions. So it's like, of course, we who grew up on this, and then you have the guy who played Batman when we were younger.
Right.
It's so perfect to do right now. It's printing money, in my opinion. Like, it would just be so great.
Right. Yeah, right. I am my own personal financial stakeholder, so I invested myself, and I will invest in that. That's for sure. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I want it so bad.
Take the money. And also, so as far as movie news goes, it looks like we're getting more returning characters for Zack Snyder's Justice League. Both Jared Leto and Joe Manganiello are said to return for the reshoots as part of the series. I mean, it makes sense if there's rumors about Jared Leto coming back. Okay, they would shoot some stuff for. But Joe Manganiello, we know, played Deathstroke, and we only ever got to see him in one shot, and we saw some test footage Ben Affleck had posted back in the day on his Instagram. Remember when they were filming the movie? I mean, he looked great, and we know Joe Manganiello is a great actor. He is like Deathstroke. He's a super nerd. He loves comics. He's he does that Death Wish or Death Roll. He has that whole D&D company that he does. Death Saves. Yeah. Death Saves. Yeah, it's like a metal / D&D company he started. He's just a cool guy, and I was so happy to have him in a Deathstroke movie, maybe as like a villain, anti-villain kind of thing. I thought that would have been so cool. So.
There was so much that I thought they could have done with him. Like, if they ever did Suicide Squad 2, he could jump in.
Yep.
And just doing, because we've talked about it a bunch of times, but when you do Batman, it's always like, okay, so we usually hit Joker.
Mm-hmm.
They've done Riddler a few times. They always do Penguin.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do a Ben Affleck Batman movie, and this is obviously prior to everything that's happened recently, but why not Deathstroke? Like, Batman and Deathstroke issues are awesome. Mm-hmm. And we all love them, so why not do that? That would be so much better.
I mean, Deathstroke's just a better version of Batman.
And it seems like the talk is that this is going to be way more than just a Justice League director's cut. That this is really Snyder bringing everything together on what he was going to do in the DC universe in this one thing. And, fingers crossed, maybe we get more out of it.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
A man can dream.
Yep, for sure. And I think, I don't know how the return of investment works for streaming services versus big, movies, but with all the unknowns about the cinema and stuff like that, maybe this is just like they're preparing for, hey, people are going to want a streaming service, they're going to want content, and this is how we can really deliver it to them in a quick turnaround.
Well, and it's like I said, we had this talk with Disney Plus when they were doing the Mulan thing. It's like, I would pay extra if you brought something that huge to a streaming service. I wouldn't pay $30 though.
Yeah, I would pay $30 on top of the streaming service.
Yeah, a ticket at my local theater is like under $10. So $10 and it's there for me forever, or even $15. Like, I would do it. I definitely would. So
look at Bill and Ted 3. They're saying like they're actually making money off it. It was like, well, yeah, because they had marketed it like streaming. There was already a huge following for it because I think it got like crowdfunded initially. Like people like wanted that movie, and it wasn't bad. It was a great movie. I thought as a third installment. So like it can be done, unless you're Christopher Nolan, then you're like, yeah, my movie needs to be in the cinema.
Well, and that was my next question, because one of the problems with Tenet was it cost like $500 million to make.
Right.
And we're seeing these like Avengers cost like almost $1 billion to make both those movies,
right? And
all this stuff. So, if we do get it, will it be to the quality that we want it to be? Because they're going to have to spend that much to do it, and it would be an interesting. For us on the sidelines, it would be an interesting experiment because it's not my hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure someone at Warner has a different thought on that because they could possibly lose their career on that idea. But
and stakeholders and all that, shareholders. Yeah.
But it would be interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, roll the dice, billionaires.
Why not? What do you have to lose?
We'll sit here and watch it all unfold. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how much more they can give us. I've already said I'm going to sign up for HBO Max, and clearly my phone is listening to me when I talk about other things that I want to purchase because I see the ads all the time, right? So just this and it's come on.
Well, it's funny because Verizon did that year of Disney Plus a while back, and now I'm watching the commercials, and I think it's AT&T is doing free HBO Max if you have an AT&T phone.
Oh, really?
It's like, that's funny. Like, I guess, whatever.
You're like, okay, DC versus Marvel. All right.
Speaking of movies that are streaming, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
I watched Borat 2 the other night.
Oh, I did. I watched it, yes.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did watch it. Oh.
I actually thought it was kind of funny.
I've got agreement about this. It's better than the first one, I think, just in the fact that it is political satire. Right?
It is. So, I'll throw it out there right out of the way. This is not a political statement. I'm just saying, if you are Republican or right-leaning and you don't have a sense of humor, don't watch this movie. Because they really pick on Republicans in this.
Oh, yeah.
That being said, it's hilarious. I don't care.
Well, it's more specific. I mean,
there's a specific type of Republican, yes.
There's a chunk of Republicans that's doing a Nazi salute, and that's really the ones they're picking on.
But my favorite scenes, it gets so dark because, like, literally when he's like, we're going to go CPAC, how do we blend in? And he gets in the KKK outfit. I was like, that's hilarious.
He gets in his KKK outfit, and nobody stops it. I'm like, did he just, like, it wasn't even the fact that he was going to the convention, but like even just walking into the hotel / conference, like nobody batted an eye.
Well, so I watched it because I was stunned when he did it,
right?
And I rewound it, and like people in the background were just sitting there like, "What the fuck is going on?" But they're like frozen. But I could see in their eyes, just like, "What is happening?"
For me, it would have been my one and only chance probably to deck a KKK member in the face in public, like on public property. I would have just went full on like the Edge WWE, speared him into the wall.
Yeah. Like it would have been Suplex City for me. Like I just would have gone nuts on it.
I would have pictured it like one of those Captain America covers, like punching a Nazi or something. And then it wouldn't be that cool. Like I would hit him and I'd probably like break my hand, and then like they'd probably arrest me for harassment, and he would be fine. And then it would be Borat under there, and be like, well, now I really fucked up. This day can't get any worse.
My second favorite scene is when he wants to commit suicide. And he's like, I don't have a gun, so I can't just kill myself.
Yeah.
So he dresses up like, this is not me talking, everybody. This is the movie. Yep. He dresses up like the typical Jew.
Yep.
And I think it's basically what it was in Borat 1, like very similar.
Yeah. He goes to the synagogue.
Yeah, and he goes to a synagogue to wait for the next mass shooting. And I literally was in the back of my seat, just like, they did not just do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's like this movie knows no bounds in the fact of like that, and then I like in the moment of watching it, like Amazon Prime like just put this out there, like didn't give a shit, man. Like, they're probably gonna lose quite a few subscribers, but holy shit, it was political satire. Like that's it. Like if
I think the genius of it being on Amazon Prime is that they won't lose subscribers, because I think a lot of people, I don't think you can meet the person who has Amazon Prime for the streaming. Like as much as we like the shows they have, like The Boys.
That's true. Right.
Like you would have Amazon, like I had Amazon Prime for the shipping for years.
Yeah, you're right. No, I didn't think about it that way. You're right. So
yeah,
I mean, everybody has it for the shipping. This is just like the added shit we get on top of it.
I think they win on this because they get more people going like, oh, and looking at their movies.
Right. And it's not like, yeah,
and then the ending, like I won't give it away, but like what the movie's all about, like I almost fell over laughing when they explained like why Borat had to go back to America. The real reason he had to go back to America.
Because there's like, this one is more, because when Borat gets to America, everybody recognizes him. So if you're expecting like the first Borat, this one is more a movie as opposed to like we're placing Borat in public and watching how people react to him. Like it was a lot more staged and stuff like that. But
there's some staged, like there's a lot more staged moments, but like even those staged moments are usually. I'd be interested to see how it was filmed, because like the baby sequence.
Yeah.
When she eats the cupcake and she swallows like a little plastic baby.
Right.
And then they go. Yeah, they talk to a doctor, but it's like a Christian health facility.
Right.
And like, so that was a staged moment, but it led up to this where like the guy's like super pro-life and trying to. It's I really do recommend it. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, like the guy probably knew he was gonna be in that situation, but then his responses seem so absurd that you're like, oh god, this is like, and then the Rudy Giuliani thing, holy shit.
Just what a bad decision.
What a oh man. And he's like, I guess he's out on the news somewhere trying to like say that he was set up and it was staged, and it was like, dude, nobody told you to go in the hotel room with her.
Like it does everything Rudy said, like he was tucking his shirt in and I was taking my mic off and all that. I was like, okay, I buy that. Like it looks like that's what happened, but at the end of the day, dude, you walked into a bedroom with this girl. Like
right. Yeah.
So even if in that moment I can buy it, that's what you're doing.
Right.
We still all know your intentions.
Oh, and the creepy hand pat on her hip and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just like a goon. He reminds me like Rudy Giuliani is just a goon from Batman the Animated Series, like in real life. He's just like a cartoon depiction of like Gotham City goon to me. Like
I think I have in the back of my head, like, I'm going to compare this to football. You remember when Antonio Brown got hit by that Bengals player and got knocked out for the season, like 2 years ago?
Yep.
And then afterwards, he became insane.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to know, like, who gave Rudy Giuliani the concussion when? Because we all remember a point where Rudy was like, he was America's mayor and he did all these great things for New York City.
Right.
And he was celebrated after 9/11 and all this great stuff he did. Like,
yeah.
I will not take any of that away from him. But at some point, someone knocked him out and he woke up and he's like, I'm fucking nuts now.
I'm drunk all the time.
Like, what happened? Yeah. And that's not to say he didn't have his problems while he was mayor. I understand he had his problems while he was mayor. But still, like, he wasn't this crazy.
Yeah. But anyways, that movie.
But the movie's good, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good. With that, I guess we'll get into the comic book news. Marvel has announced a major change to the Marvel Unlimited program. In the past, all the new comics would enter the service 6 months after the release date. Now that window closes to 3 months. That's pretty huge.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's huge.
Like, for someone like me who likes to read trades, I was usually 3 months behind to begin with. Like, this is pretty big.
Well, I was thinking, people like you who are like passive Marvel fans,
right?
This is a slam dunk. $10 a month for that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I was thinking too, like, if I wasn't doing this show, with the exception of some books like Captain America, I'd have to keep buying, but I would probably do this,
right,
and not buy physical anymore. Like,
$10 for like all your books, even if like you subscribe to one series a month, right? 3 months of books, you get to read them. That's $10 right there. That's $12, right? Like,
yeah, like the average comic now is like $3.99. We'll say $3.99.
Yeah,
and even if you go to $2.99, that's 4 books,
right? Yeah,
I get more than that a week.
Right, I know. You have like a pile like this. Right, exactly. So I think that's a great. I mean, I'm going to look into it again. I used to have Comixology Unlimited. Now I just buy what I want on Comixology. I might just do this.
Yeah, and not only that, but they still do the deal where if you buy a year, you get like the special gift package with all this like cool Marvel swag. On top of the fact that it's cheaper to do it that way. Right. So like, yeah, Marvel Unlimited looks. I think it's a step towards day and date. I really think that they're a couple of years old, like, I don't know, 2 to 5 years away from trying day and date and saying F you to the comic shops.
Even if they did $20 a month for day and date, I think.
If it became day and date and it was under, and if it was $20,
if it was under $30 a month, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because it's a book a week, right? So you're assuming you're going to have at least like 1 book a week, or like 2 books a week right there. It's like, bam, your money's back.
Well, you think so. Physically, I would only want to get. There's only like really 2 characters who I want like runs of.
Right.
And it's Cap and Miles.
Yep.
And everything else, for the most part, with few exceptions, like when they occasionally do a MODOK series, I have to have the book.
Right.
I would be fine doing this and just get my books that way.
And, and like, especially like events.
Oh yeah, especially the way Marvel does events.
Yeah, right.
Like DC's getting a little taste of it right now, but that's still not as bad as some Marvel events can get.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see where that goes, though. Marvel has announced that Iron Fist is getting a new limited series from writer Larry Hama with the art by David Watcher. The series is called Iron Fist: Heart of the Dragon, and it's set to come out in January. So, I might check that out.
So you're an Iron Fist guy. I'm not really an Iron Fist guy.
I'm a Kung Fu guy, and I don't really get that over at DC. Which is pretty cool because now we're in January. Shang-Chi is getting a second title, a one-shot called The Legend of Shang-Chi by Alyssa Wong and artist Andy Tong. So we know we're getting a Shang-Chi movie. They're just trying to get this character out there, get people to know who he is. And on the opposite side of Iron Fist, it's a Kung Fu character that's actually Asian. So like. There you go. That's why I have a little more interest in Shang-Chi, you know what I mean? Like, this guy grew up over there. Okay. But I like that first issue. I'm going to keep up with it. So.
Yeah, and it's it's synergy. You need to have the books out there when the movie's made, and they haven't really done much with Shang-Chi in a long time.
Right. Yep.
So it's good to see the people that like him, like yourself.
Yep. Get
those books out there. So.
And it's not necessarily something that you really need to know what the hell is going on in the Marvel universe, No,
it's not like Shang-Chi's gonna team up with Hulk and they'll be like, hey, we gotta fight this guy, Hulk. Like, Shang-Chi kind of can live in his own little bubble. Right.
Yeah, the multiverse is crumbling. We need you, Shang-Chi. It's like, no,
And then when King of Black happens, he can show up and karate chop somebody and then run away. Like, that's how you keep him in the universe.
Right. You're like, oh, there he is. Yep, he was there. Okay.
Hey, he's the one that poked Null in the eyes. It's cool.
Yeah, save the day. Maestro will continue after the current series ends with a new series called Maestro War and Pax by Peter David with art by Javier Pena. Are you reading that?
No, but what's interesting here is they did this with Thanos for a while. So Peter David created Maestro for Future Imperfect, and just like Jim Starlin created Thanos way back in the day, and they gave Jim you get a miniseries, you get a graphic novel, you get a miniseries, and it went on like that for a while where he got to keep telling Thanos stories.
Yep.
In kind of his own corner. And it seems like that's what they're doing with Peter David. It's like, hey, people are interested in this Maestro guy. Like, do you want to tell more stories? And apparently he has more, so.
Good for him.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of Maestro fans out there.
Yeah. Former DC exclusive artist Brett Booth, great artist, is returning to Marvel this January to join Jonathan Hickman's X-Men series. Currently don't know if he's just going to be a one-off or he's going to be a new series artist. But that's pretty cool. I mean, he's a great artist.
I'm zoning on the current artist's name, but he's leaving the book. So that's part of this. I'd be so down for Brett Booth doing X-Men.
I figured you would.
I'd be down for Brett Booth doing almost anything. I loved him on Flash, too, when I was reading
Flash.
Oh,
he is such a great artist on Flash. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm down for this. Get a great artist for, what's becoming a flagship series for Marvel. Let's do it.
Yeah. DC has announced that... So, now, this is... If you're planning to go to your local comic shop to get books... This is kind of shaking things up about the distribution and stuff that we had touched on, the beginning of all this, maybe back in April, March.
Yeah, so it's basically shaping up DC's own distribution company now.
Yeah, DC has announced they're going to end their partnership with UCS, Midtown Comics, for their distribution, which they just started, was it 2 months ago?
Well, it was... a month or two after the pandemic started?
Yeah, it's time.
Remember, we went a little while without comics.
That's true.
And those were the dark ages.
Yep.
And then DC said, we started this new thing. We're going to break from Diamond. And we got these two companies that are going to handle it. And then Penguin House is going to handle the graphic novels.
Yep.
And this is one of them. So this has got to be... So that was, March, April... Yeah, so June or July. So yeah, sorry, we're in the year the time stood still, so it wasn't exactly that long ago.
Right, yeah. So they're cutting their ties with Midtown Comics. Starting with January's titles, you can only get DC Comics through Lunar Distribution for the US, Diamond UK for European listeners, and collected editions graphic novels through Penguin Random House for distribution.
Which is still pretty random.
Yeah, it is. Especially random in the name. It's just weird stuff going on here, I guess. You're still using Diamond for the European distribution. You know what I mean? It's just weird.
It's strange, but this isn't going to affect the customer all that much. Right. I wouldn't be shocked if that first month has some issues because there is talks that Lunar has shipping deals with FedEx as opposed to UPS, which the other ones use. So who knows how that changes things. But I don't see this really affecting the customer that much. This is more of a retailer problem. Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, come on, comics industry's gone through enough, can you just make it easy for people?
Well, yeah, and we don't really know if it's DC or Midtown because I read a thing that it could be that Midtown was overwhelmed with all this.
Oh, yeah.
And couldn't handle what they wanted to do, so they had to drop out, and Lunar is much more capable of doing it. If that's the case, then it's a whole different story. It's not really DC's fault, but whatever's happening, I hope that this sticks for a little while, and we don't see another shakeup like this anytime soon, because the last thing retailers need is another shakeup.
Yeah, for sure.
And a part of this, too, they're going to start implementing minimum orders.
Oh boy!
So you have to buy, I think it's $500 worth of product a week.
Oh my god!
Which I did the math, and if you're just getting single issues at $3.99 a book, it was like 125 books or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So single issues, and this could be that 500 can be spread across anything.
Yeah,
and you can still get graphic novels and everything through Lunar. The Penguin House one is more for bookstores.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there's a minimum, but like, show me the store out there that's not doing $500 worth in DC stuff.
Right. Yeah, you got to just to make money.
I would think it'd be hard not to.
Right.
Actually, I'm sorry, I did the math wrong because they pay half, so it'll be
they pay half.
Book. So that's even.
It's $1,000.
So it'll be $250.
Oh, $250. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it was. So yeah, if it's
okay. So if they pay 50%,
so it's 500, and if you're paying 50%, let's say all books are $199 for the retailer.
Yep.
That's 251 books and a quarter.
Yeah, so that's even easier then. Okay.
But still, like, that's not that much.
Yep. Yeah, it really isn't. With that, let's talk about the comics we read this week.
Yay.
Batman 101. This is the aftermath of the whole Joker war. Batman goes and talks with Lucius, or not Lucius. Lucius Fox, right? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. I spelled it wrong here. He has all the money now. The money has been left to Lucius, and Batman's pretty much. They have this conversation like, you need to operate without the money. He's going to live in an apartment in Gotham. Like, he's not going to be able to repair his vehicles when they're broken down. Like, he's got to do everything on his own. So kind of a lot like you saw in the Batman trailer, is like where we're going with this comic book Batman.
So we're getting like minimum wage Batman.
Yeah, like Batman on food stamps or something. But he has a conversation with Catwoman, like, we should run away together, and they're like, let's re-talk in like a year or so. And they talk about moving away, but currently he's going to move into the city. And Batman, as he's leaving, he mentions, because Lucius has hired Grifter as a bodyguard, but he tells him, I know about Halo. So Lucius is definitely up to something. He doesn't know what. We got to find out what Halo is. But I'm just curious to see this new villain. I want to see this new villain show up. DC Hope at World's End 12. This is like the big fight where Black Adam shows up, and a lot of the younger heroes are trying to like get the civilians out of the city. Most of the civilians make it out safely, and in the whole battle of everything, Martian Manhunter and Stephanie Brown die. But at the end, like, Damian's acting all tough because he's Batman now, but like Talia says that they can revive Stephanie in a Lazarus pit. So I think that's what they're going to do, which usually ends really well when you take a dead body and bring it out to Lazarus pit. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Every time. Yeah.
Justice League 54, 55, because I did miss 54. This is Josh Williamson. So, the last issue was the Starro Field. They get past the Starro Field, but there's one giant Starro at the end. Of course there is.
Always says.
Yeah, during the fight, they're like, where the hell's Detective Chimp? And he's still off daydreaming about like being at the bar with his buddy, which actually, it's funny at first, but actually means way more depressing and sad than everybody else. Because he's like, he lost all his friends, and he's just really depressed about it. Lex has a ship to get across this water area, and the bay, I forget what it's called, the bay of something, but the ship is made out of the metal men. Like, each parts of the ship are like mercury and bronze and or gold, and they're all parts of the ship.
I was trying to piece that together, and I didn't click.
Yeah. So they're like, he's pretty much like, I got them to activate and hold form to make this ship, which is pretty cool to see. The little things like that are really cool. And this is a death metal tie-in. Sorry, I didn't get into that. But Kendra, blinded by rage, still wants to go save Martian Manhunter, who's already been fighting the Mindhunter Batman. And as she goes to save him, it was a trick the whole time because the Omega Knight, this giant like Galactus-looking Batman thing, is waiting for them when they cross the mountain, and the Mindhunter Batman transforms from Martian Manhunter to the Mindhunter, and he's like, "Oh well, it was easy to locate you guys because you're so mad and you flew right towards me." So again, Kendra just messing things up for everybody. I want to see this battle happen. I want to see what the Omega Knight's going to do and how they take care of that. And Manhunter or Mindhunter Batman's awesome too. So I think it'd be a cool issue. Really cool. Yeah,
really like this issue.
Yep. Dune, House of Atreides, #1. So this is this part of Dune takes place before the first book, Dune 1 novel. Just so everybody knows. So this is pre-Dune 1. We have a conversation between Duke Leto and Paul Atreides, his son, talking about Paul being sent off to learn about another planet, another species. And then we have the current emperor, who is not Caladan, who is in the book, but it's his son is there, and that's he becomes the new emperor. So he's kind of plotting with his friend on how to kill this emperor because he's been there for like centuries. So they talk about like poisoning him to where like every time he drinks his spice beer, it'll poison him slowly. So you have the relationship of the Duke and Paul, which is kind of like bittersweet because we don't have that anymore after the first novel. Spoilers. But that was pretty cool. The art is great. You get to see all these. You get to see Arrakis and the worms and all that cool stuff. And then you get to see like, okay, the Emperor is kind of a piece of shit from the get go. So I thought it was a great first issue.
Yeah, I really liked it too. Hardcore Dune fans are gonna hate me. It's been decades since I read these books, the House books. So, but I think this is actually combining some elements of all three House books together.
Okay,
if I'm remembering correctly. But I really liked it. I like the art that's going with it, and I didn't really realize that they were going to tie this so closely into the new movie because a lot of the designs and the character models and everything look like the movie.
Yeah,
which is fine, but
except for like Thufir. Thufir is a woman in the movie, so they didn't like keep her character. Yeah, I think they've changed that character to a woman, or instead of like a younger woman, instead of like because he's like an old man throughout the series too. But everybody like Duke Leto has like the beard and stuff like you see in the trailer. But yeah, I think you're kind of right on what you said.
And the print version also had a thing in the back that was like an exclusive first look at the same team here that did this book is also doing a Dune graphic novel series. Okay. Awesome. Where they're taking that first book and doing multiple graphic novels.
Yeah.
And that looked really cool too. That actually got more into some like you got much better looks at like the worms. Yeah. Because that opening sequence for the novels where they're out there and they're kind of explaining what everything is, that you really get like a good look at a nice 2-page spread right there.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I'll probably pick that up too. Now. Yeah. I'm gonna read through that for sure. And I would actually, I hope they do that with the rest of the books, just because I like comics more than novels. So, and then I had Batman, White Knight, Harley and Quinzel #1. Yes, I read a Harley Quinn book. It was okay. It centers around Harley within the universe of the White Knight. If you haven't read the White Knight, go and read it because it's a great series. It's kind of the aftermath. Harley has the 2 babies from the Joker, and living with the 2 hyenas. It kind of looks like she's in and out of jobs, trying to like get normal jobs as clerical work, as dentist office stuff, trying to be normal. Duke shows up at her door and says, "Hey, we got this serial killer going around, killing all these old school movie people and painting them black and white," which is kind of weird. Wants her help. She goes sees Bruce. She has this relationship with Bruce, who's in prison. Bruce Wayne's in prison. He kind of convinces her, well, maybe you should help. She decides to go help. And then, as she's at the crime scene, she finds out, oh, it's a copycat. And she does some good like detective work on the crime scene. But finding out it's the copycat and it's Neo Joker, she kind of takes it personal and by the end of the issue, she's back in her Harley Quinn outfit, like walking the streets. So this whole thing kind of backfired. This is what the cops didn't want when they asked her to help. So I thought it was a solid first issue.
I'll say I think I felt stronger about it because I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And they do some prologue stories too. They change kind of how Harley and Joker met in this world, at least, and I really like that. But yeah, all this stuff like Harley trying to be like, and having those like real moments of like, I'm, when she's sitting there talking with Bruce and she says like, sometimes when we're just at the park and I'm just counting down the minutes till it's nap time because I want peace and quiet. Like there's some real moments in there, and I believe Sean Murphy's wife is the co-writer on this, so that makes sense that some of those moments are in there.
Okay.
I really, really liked it, and I'll say anything White Knight so far has been gold for me because I've loved all those series.
Yeah, I mean it's still solid, good White Knight stuff from the universe, but
yeah.
At the end of the day, if I could pick a character, I wouldn't want it revolving around Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I can agree there, but I still really like that book. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's all I had.
Okay, then all I had other than that was Venom 29, which was... So Eddie's wife from this parallel world tells the story of how her son Dylan became this big bad in the book. And then when that's all over, there's kind of a funny moment where one of the symbiotes comes in and rolls Deadpool's head into the building, and Deadpool is just like, listen, you gotta get the fuck out of here because they found us. And Scorpion, who was transformed in the last issue to have his own Venom symbiote,
of course,
jumps in and they fight. So it was a solid issue. It was a lot of telling, like, we got the big reveal last issue, so of course this is the issue where you got to get the back story to that.
Right.
So that was the majority of this, and then it ends in a way that's like, now we got to take them down. So Venom's still really good. I really like that series. Cool. And I recommend people buy it.
Yep.
And then I'm shocked you didn't read this one, but Dark Knight's Death Metal Robin King.
Oh, I did read it. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't have the notes for it. Yeah, you can talk about it though. I did read that.
So, I mean, long story short, it's how this Robin King came to kind of more of his backstory after he killed his parents. And then him, like the moment with him and Firestorm was really cool.
Yeah.
Where he created like a reverse black hole thing and threw it in his head, made him implode on himself.
The whole spread page with the belt and like the map legend of like what little things were, and he had like an imp trapped in a jar, and like and then he has a ring for each one of the Trinity, and like the ring for Batman isn't anything special. It's just but the ring for Wonder Woman is like something made from Hephaestus, or however you pronounce his name, right? Forged in the pits of hell, and then he has a kryptonite ring, and I can't remember what the Batman one was made out of, but it was something like symbolic to just beat the shit out of Batman.
Yeah, and that's important too. They kind of get into why he's Robin,
right?
And why he's not Batman,
right?
And that was interesting too. I like that, and I liked how they twisted it.
Yep.
To like fit what this character is, and then it's Batman Who Laughs comes, gets him, shows him everything, and says, "Now you're going to be one of my Robins." We get kind of a look into how these evil Robins are created.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then it kind of jumps back and forth between some of the stuff that happened in the past and just this fight between the Robin King and the Trinity. Yep. So this is kind of a direct sequel to what happened last issue, which makes it kind of important. And we also get this underlying story where this Robin doesn't want to become Batman. He wants to inspire other people to be as evil as him. And at the end, the Darkest Night comes and grabs him before he basically kills the Trinity, and shows him all of the evil Robins and how he inspired all of them.
Yeah. Crazy.
I love this issue, and I didn't even check to see ahead of time, but it's Peter Tomasi writing it. I haven't heard him in a long time.
Yep.
So I was really excited that he wrote this and wrote a really good issue.
It was pretty cool to see the dynamic between Robin King and the Batman Who Laughs and how they don't really get along.
Yeah, and that was another interesting thing too. Like, Robin, he didn't want to become one of these Robins. He was forced, but in typical Batman fashion, he has a little pill that can trap a part of him inside of his brain. So even if he turns, there's still a little part of him in there.
Yep.
And there's just some great moments. Really love that issue.
Mm-hmm.
And then, real quick, because we talked about this so much in the past, but I read Volume 8 of Batman, Tom King.
Yep.
So this is half the Trial of Victor Freeze, which I loved.
That was a really good part. Oh, yeah.
Great way to bring in Freeze and not just do another Freeze story and tie it into what happened in the wedding.
Yep.
So really love that one. And then the KGB story, which it wasn't a bad story. It just felt like a filler where like KG Beast is in town and Batman's got to rile him up. But not a bad story. And a beautiful story because Tony Daniels is all the art for it.
Oh, yeah. The Tony Daniels art, you can't beat that.
Yeah. So I thought it was another great volume of Batman. Getting closer to that awesome Nightmare story that I keep hearing about.
Oh, yeah. Nightmare. And then you get Hawaii Five-0 Batman.
Oh, I'm excited for Hawaii Five-0 Batman.
Oh, God. All right. I'm happy for you.
All right, Mike. Where can people find you on the internet?
They can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show?
You can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter, and of course, chrisrunt.com, where all my comic stuff is in one handy-dandy place, including any interviews I do outside of this show. You can also find the show at fortresscomicnews.com. That's where everything we do together is in one handy-dandy place, including this show, the new comic releases every week, Bat Friends podcast, and anything else we come up with is right there. Remember, everybody, if you're listening to us, 5-star reviews on your podcatcher. If you're watching us, like, subscribe, share, comment down below. And if you want to go the extra mile to help us out, patreon.com/Fortress of Comic News. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you next week.
See ya.